Alright, everybody, so now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about, well, specifically, we're going to look at William Shakespeare's Sonnet 116. Now, I'm pretty sure I'm going to split these videos up, so this video will probably be just Sonnet 116, though I may go on to Sonnet 43 by Elizabeth Barrett Browning, and America, the sonnet by Claude McKay. So anyways, let's start here. I'm going to blow this up a bit so we can see things better. Alright, so guys, one thing that I think is important to know about this sonnet is that it's basically a persuasive essay. I mentioned this before the break, but I mentioned that this poem is pretty much Shakespeare, or the speaker through whom Shakespeare is speaking. The speaker is basically trying to convince the audience that to understand love in a particular way. And they're basically saying that the common understanding of love is not what true love is. And then he finishes the poem by saying pretty much, and if you think I'm wrong, then nobody knows what love is. Like, if this isn't love, then no one knows love. So that'll become a little bit more clear as we go through this. Alright. Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. Oh no, it is an ever-fixed mark that looks on tempests and is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark, whose worth's unknown, although his height be taken. So let me see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, alright. So those are the first 8 lines. Basically, let's try to determine, I'm checking on the number of lines to determine what kind of sonnet is this. Well, we know from the name, obviously, it's Shakespearean. But what we talked about before with the different, in another video, the differences between the Shakespearean and the Petrarchan sonnet are shown here, that the Petrarchan sonnet is broken into an 8-line group and a 6-line group, whereas the Shakespearean sonnet is contains 12 lines that are all related to the same idea. So let's go back over to the poem and see if lines 9, 10, 11, and 12 continue this idea about love, or a focus on love. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it seems that it does. Love's not time's fool, though rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. Love alters not within its brief hours and weeks, but bears it out, even unto the edge of doom. Okay, so all of these 12 lines are containing basically the different points this person is making about love. So this definitely does, if we go back over to this diagram here, it definitely does fall into the Shakespearean or the British structure versus the Italian. Alright, especially if we look for this rhyming couplet at the end, which, remember, is a conclusion to the thoughts. Excuse me. Too much lemon. So these last 2 lines. If this be error and upon me proved, I never writ nor no man ever loved. So if you can prove that I'm wrong, if this is wrong and you can prove it, I never wrote anything. The great Shakespeare, the famous Shakespeare, I've never written anything nor no one ever loved. So basically he's saying, I can't be wrong because obviously I'm a writer and obviously other men have loved. So I want to go back up here and get a little bit more. So we were just talking about the form that it takes. It definitely fits the Shakespearean sonnet structure. Let's take a look at the rhyme scheme. So in the Shakespearean sonnet, there's the rhyming couplet, the rhyming alternation of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, G. So the last 2 lines, the rhyming couplet, will always be the same rhyme. Everything else is alternating. Let's see if we have that in here. Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love, which alters when alteration finds. Well, so far that's A. Love starts the second rhyme set. That's B. Love or bends with the remover to remove. So guys, this is where things might seem a little weird. Love and remove, they certainly don't sound like they rhyme. However, in Shakespearean English, they did. Remove was pronounced remove. So love, remove, those two words absolutely do rhyme. So it depends on how you look at it. This could either be considered a slant or off rhyme, which again are rhymes that are like not quite right, but you can kind of make them work. It could be considered that, or it could be considered a rhyme dependent on context. You know, for us today, this is not a rhyme. In the past, it was. So far we do have that A-B alternation. And let's look at this next line. Oh no, it is an ever fixed mark that looks on tempest is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark. So here we have the start of a new rhyme. A, B, C, D, C. And then here, shaken, then rhymes with taken. So we see that we do have confirmation of that alternating pattern. All right, so there are a couple other things that I want to talk about. I want to make sure that this video doesn't get too long. So I've just gone through the structure of the Shakespearean sonnet, how 116 does adhere to that structure. It does adhere to the rhyme scheme. And if we pop back over here, we can see that even more clearly. I think this chart is particularly useful in understanding the structure of these poems. All right, I want to talk a little bit more about the content now. So what is Shakespeare saying here? Or what is the speaker, at least, saying? Because remember, we can't just assume that the speaker is always the poet. Though, I think in the poems that you'll find in this course, that is the case. I think it's fair to say that this is Shakespeare. Anyway, saying, let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love, which alters when it alteration finds. So saying, I'm going to be totally honest here. Love is not real love if it goes away when the person who you love changes. Love is not love if it alters or changes when it finds change in the one you love, or bends with the remover to remove. So basically, love is not something that will just change or go away. It's not easy to get rid of. Oh no, it is an ever fixed mark. It is permanent. It is fixed. Now, this also here is is metaphorical language, or it is a metaphor. It is an ever fixed mark that looks on tempests and is never shaken. A fixed mark that looks on tempests and is never shaken, that it would, in a lot of cases, would be a lighthouse. This is widely recognized as a direct reference to, or metaphor of, a lighthouse. So basically, love is a lighthouse that is standing on a cliff in the darkness, looking out on tempest being horrible, rough, dangerous storms. Love is a light in the darkness. Love is a light in the storm, is what it's pretty much saying here. It is the star to every wandering bark, whose worth's unknown, although his might be taken. Stars, again, are a symbol of a guiding light, something that helps you find your way through the darkness. Now, if we scroll down here, I think this one is kind of my favorite, actually. Love is not time's fool, though rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. So here, love and time are both being... well, you could look at it a couple ways. They're being personified as living beings. Personification being where you give lifelike quality to something that is not actually live or is not actually sentient. Love and time are ideas. They are not beings. Or depending on, and this is far more common in the British literature, it could be an allusion to love, to time, to gods and goddesses, deities that represent those things. That's incredibly common in British literature, especially making reference to the Greek and Roman literature. Love alters not. Oh, sorry. Yeah, love's not time's fool. So, time in this case represents also the Grim Reaper, death. We've all seen the Grim Reaper, or if we haven't, we are now. The Grim Reaper is often a figure depicted as the skeleton or a cloaked, hooded figure with a scythe, with a sickle, with something that is a harvesting tool meant to reap grain. But in literature and basically a lot of cultures, he reaps souls. So love is not time's fool, although rosy lips and cheeks within his bending simple's compass come. Basically saying, although youth, rosy lips and cheeks, although those things go away, they fall within the compass of time's sickle. They're reaped by time. Youth is reaped by time. Although youth goes away, love does not. Love is not time's fool. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out even to the edge of doom. Love will not give up, will not give in, even if it seems that all hope is lost. And then again, if this be error upon me proved, I never writ, nor no man ever loved. If you can prove that I'm wrong, then no one knows love. Yeah, I was like, there is more to say here about maybe some of the different rhymes and such, but in all, the main point to take away from this is not a profession of love. This is an essay. This is a you need to agree with me, and I'm going to convince you of my point.